In deze aflevering ga ik in gesprek met 2 coaches uit Canberra. Maar niet zomaar 2 coaches. Nelson en Reza stonden op mijn nummer 1 om te bezoeken toen ik van Nederland naar Australië vertrok. Maar waarom dan? Elke week lig ik dubbel om hun video's, want ze zijn geniaal met de hoge kwaliteit video's die ze op Instagram plaatsen en de miljoenen views die ze daarmee behalen. Terwijl ze dat doen, geven ze gewoon superveel les en hebben ze een heel succesvolle tennisschool. Ik ben dus heel benieuwd hoe ze die 2 werelden met elkaar combineren. En het was mijn plan om hun te interviewen. Maar toen ik daar aankwam, bleken zij ook een missie te hebben. Zij wilden mij ook interviewen. Dus je gaat luisteren naar een grappig gesprek waarin we ons beide verhalen delen. De cultuurverschillen tussen Nederland en Australië delen. En vertellen wat wij vinden wat er moet veranderen in deze mooie sport. Het wordt veel lachen, dus lach met ons mee en geniet van deze aflevering.
Do you have a lot of grass courts in the Netherlands?
Yeah, what are the courts? What are the courts like?
No.
What's the main surface over there?
No, we only got in Rosmalen, Libema Open, the tournament Tim van Rijthoven won, maybe.
You just said a bunch of words. I did not know what they were.
I'm nodding, but my brain's going, what?
Welcome back to another episode of the Tennis Culture Podcast. Rez, very special one here. This has never happened before. We've had guests on the show before.
But never international guests.
That's a lie. We've had plenty of international guests. We had David Goffin. We had Michael Moe. You're off to a great start here.
Oh, those guys. You can't. Okay, yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
This is our first guest where we've had another tennis enthusiast, a social media superstar, reach out to us and say, hey, I want to collab with you. And this is why we have Hugo... one more time, how do I say it? Strava. Hugo, all the way from the Netherlands, the founder of Tennis the World. If you haven't checked out his account, jump over to Instagram and YouTube. Check it out. But Hugo, thanks so much for visiting our small town of Canberra. You've been traveling all around Australia over the last few months. And really quickly, just tell the listeners who you are, what your journey is, and why you're doing this.
Yeah, so... Hugo Straver in Dutch.
That's what I said, right?
That's exactly what you said.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's what you said. That's good. Yeah, traveling Australia right now to learn a lot from other coaches and seeing this beautiful country, but it is right now. But yeah, Tennis the World is the company I started when I was, I think, 18 years old during my last 2 years of university. And when I was a kid, I loved football. I really liked that. Didn't like tennis that much, but when the sport was just not fun for me because of the coach. It was just
got it.
I was like, oh, in summer it's nice to play tennis 1 hour a week, and as quickly as I can, I want to jump. To the soccer field, as they call it here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the soccer pitch.
The soccer pitch. That's right. And I played a lot of soccer, football, and there was one moment I watched the Wimbledon final of 2008.
Hang on, wait. Rez, you're the stat man. Wimbledon final 2008. Is that Rafa Roger?
That was Rafa Roger, yes.
Yes.
And I never watched a match before on television. I was just on...
Really?
No, I didn't watch any of it. I didn't even know that tennis was so good. And so I watched.
That's a cream final, by the way, you watched.
It's probably the best one. So I remember watching that. It was a boring party. At a friend's house of my parents, so I was like 12 years old or something. I was watching the first set, and I was like, "This is nice." And then there was another a guy watching with me, and then there were 5 people, 10, and then everybody was watching because it was a crazy match.
Yeah.
And after that match, the next day, I started playing with my dad. I lost until I won. I was making a Grand Slam schedule for myself against my father, and then when I beat him, I was just, and my father can't play tennis really. Like when I'm watching him now, he's like
you're like, how did I lose so many times to my father? Okay.
Right. And so then I started playing more and more until I was like, I think 16. Stopped soccer, and tennis was quite expensive. I thought I had to pay it for myself. My parents are not sporty parents, really supportive, but they don't play sports.
Yep.
And I was like, how can I improve my game without paying a coach. That was when I was like,
It's tricky, isn't it?
The broke student.
Smart.
Yeah. So I started that concept of having the tennis coach on your phone. Some years later, I started Tennis the World, which is a program now where players can improve their game, really focused on the recreational players who want to become better.
Nice.
After doing that for 2 years, some coaches in the Netherlands signed up. Then I had a collaboration with the Dutch Federation, and they can earn also their points for their license.
Oh,
So
through
through the
nice.
program.
Yeah, wow.
But I always was like, I think there's so much more to see and to do, and
To understand the game.
to understand of the game. So that started with me just looking at all the topics, all the videos on the internet, all the PDFs.
That's a lot of
stuff.
videos on the internet, man.
Oh yeah,
That's a
now
lot.
I cannot catch up now. But it's so that's how it started, and then I was like, Yitti and I were having that discussion 6 months ago, or no, already maybe a year ago. She was not having fun during her job.
Yeah.
She hated her job after a while, and we were saying we want to go to Australia, and I want to learn from the world of tennis.
Yeah.
And the company name is Tennis World. I think it clicks. So
Yeah, of course.
Very much so.
So we now we are here.
And that brings you here today.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to our home, man.
Yeah,
This is where we spend, I would say, 80% of our life outside of sleep.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we're just at the tennis court. We live and breathe this.
You'll be close to 80% with sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. We're on the court a lot.
Probably.
I sometimes sleep out there. It's much easier. Can I ask a question? Why Australia? Like, what's the reason you chose Australia? Obviously, a lot of countries out there. Europe is thick with amazing talent.
Oh yeah. I think it's imagine being in the Netherlands where it rains all winter. Australian Open starts, and there's these blue courts and the sun, and you're like, I want to go there one day.
Yeah.
Then 4 years ago we've been to the Australian Open, but because of the bushfires, our trip was cancelled.
Oh,
after
you had the
2 weeks.
2020.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then COVID, right? And then,
and so we were planning to do the trip back then, which we are doing now, but it was too short.
Yeah.
2 weeks of Australia,
Yeah.
so we just were like, we need to go back there.
Yeah.
And
Do it properly.
and we did. Yeah.
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 And you have.
And I think a lot of people in my family, and also some like older. I'm lost of how you pronounce it or the word
give it
in
a go.
English,
There's
but
no
it's
judgment
like
here.
A family member went to Australia when I was younger, telling those stories, how beautiful it is. And I think that always was in my head, like, it's probably really nice. So I don't know. It was somehow I was like, Australia. And maybe it's just cool if it's so far away from home. I don't know.
It's a long way away.
It
I think that's what makes Australia so magical, in the sense that it's not easy to get to. You really have to make a big effort to get there. So when you do it, you embrace it with all its ups and downs. You
And you got to spend the time too.
Yeah, and you get to spend a good amount of time. But yeah, it's why we love it so much here. So yeah, we're super excited. So mate, that's great. You've spent the last few months here. You've got till about June, July, you were saying, a few more months before you then head back home. Just before we move on to the next topic, what is your goal for the next couple of months? What would you love to tick off the list and say, yep, I did that?
In Australia?
Yeah.
Ooh, Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's so much that was on my list what we did now.
Yep.
And bad preparation, but sometimes we are just there and we're like, what can we do here? There's so much to do. So I don't know.
Great call.
Great Barrier Reef is number one.
Yeah. Make sure you do that. Yeah. It is great.
Have you played? You got Richard Krajicek as a former Grand Slam champion on the Wimbledon grass.
Good call.
Yeah.
I remember that because I cry when he beat Pete Sampras. He was my hero back then, but I love Richard Krajicek. What a legend. Do you have a lot of grass courts in the Netherlands?
Yeah, what are the courts? What are the courts like?
No.
What's the main surface over there?
No, we only got the in Rosmalen, Libema Open, the tournament Tim van Rijthoven won, maybe.
You just said a bunch of words. I did not know what they were.
I'm nodding, but my brain's going, what?
So tennis courts,
You're so
what
fancy.
style of court? Hard courts?
No.
Carpet?
Rotterdam?
Clay.
Clay.
Gross.
Oh, it's his least favorite. But have you seen and played on a grass court before?
I did.
Yes,
I
you did.
Where at?
Where?
Aubrey.
Aubrey.
Aubrey!
So that's another story. But we've been to Country Week.
You did Country Week.
That's awesome.
So, guys, for the listeners here who are on a Country Week is a big team tournament here down in Australia where you get, I think it's a minimum of about 5 to 6 players per team, and it's doubles. It's all doubles. You play against teams from all over the country for a week.
Yeah.
And you come in, it's got a real good social aspect. Everyone sort of sticks
Dresses
around
up a
afterwards. You have team matching outfits. You stay for drinks after.
awesome.
It's a great week. Never played it, actually, now I think about it.
Yeah.
But I
and
hear
why?
about it all the time.
And we're going to do it next year.
We're going to do it this year.
yeah.
Do you want to join our team next year?
Yes.
Yes.
We got 3.
Yes.
Just need
Excellent. Buster's coming. He's coming.
4. We're
4.
good.
And I did my first time on grass was also in Australia just 2 weeks before that, or 1 week before that week.
Yeah.
And it was shit.
Beep. Just delayed.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. We drop those all the time. We forget it. It's really funny watching someone play on grass for the first time. It's hilarious because people forget how to move. You forget how to bend your knees. You forget that you are a fully capable human of moving around, and no one moves. The ball just dies, and you shank everything. It's hilarious to watch if you've never played on grass before.
And the thing is, being a soccer player, like grass is probably the most natural substance to run on as humans, right?
But think about
but
it,
we forget because we're stuck with the
used to this
hardcore.
stuff.
This
The
stuff
clays.
here,
Yeah.
clay.
And the bounce was
crazy.
But that grass court there was also
not a great one.
well, no.
Hasn't been looked after.
And it was, let's say, better than the last day of that week.
Got it.
So it was, the bounce was really difficult, but my legs, I've got skinny legs. But
Hey, me too.
I was looking at my legs after that week, and I was like, oh, this is better than doing a good gym program.
Oh, yeah. I've been telling people for years we need grass courts everywhere, and I'll have good legs.
Yeah, that's why. That's why, Nelson.
That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Hugo, let's compare countries at the moment, because the reason we started this podcast was to talk about the culture in tennis as a whole. Rez and I, we got a great background in the coaching realm, a little bit in the playing realm. We spent a lot of time here in Australia, but we've also spent a large portion of our careers over in America as well. And we always constantly compare the two cultures. But I've never been to the Netherlands. Rez, you have never been to the Netherlands.
No, I really want to go.
So let me ask you, you've spent a bit of time here in Australia and you've seen what the culture is like. What are some similarities and differences you notice about your home country of the Netherlands?
Yeah, the biggest one, and I felt very professional doing this last weekend during my tournament in Shoalhaven, was everybody here, maybe you're saying that this is not true, but a lot of players are doing a proper warm-up. They are just doing their...
Here in Australia?
Yeah. They are just doing their warm-up with the bands and just running around a little bit, or at least doing something.
Yes. Yeah.
So you said they are.
Yeah.
Correct.
they are.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something you can confirm? Or?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. We don't, us too, but we encourage.
We're not athletes.
No.
Yeah, but when
No.
you go away to tournaments,
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. So and in the Netherlands, that's not the case.
No?
Yeah, right.
No.
Why not?
I don't know. And here I played 2 tournaments, and then I was so surprised there were officials at the tournament. But that's maybe not everywhere in every tournament. Or?
There's always officials at tournaments. In terms of the level of official, like there's some tournaments you'll get linesmen and umpires for like the finals.
Yeah. Okay.
But most tournaments there's always roaming officials.
And just for the toss and
doing the toss, checking the net, keeping track of the warm up. Yeah, I would say that's pretty stock standard over all tournaments here in Australia.
and that's not in the Netherlands.
So what do they do? Say, hey, you're playing. You're going to play Tuesday 3:00. The courts are over there. Just tell us the scores later.
It's actually the same, but without the officials. And
Really?
there's just the tournament. There's more the crew of the tournament. There's just volunteers of the club.
Yeah.
And this is on recreational level. So and of course I play recreational level, but also a big difference is if I play the tournaments, let's say men's singles open, I win the tournament. If I win it all, I win the tournament, the whole tournament. But in the Netherlands, every tournament is got their own category based on their level. So let's say UTR. We don't really use UTR in the Netherlands, but let's say I play in the Netherlands for UTR 8 and 9 category. And so I win the 8.
And
You win the 8
9.
and 9, but then there might be a 9.5 and 10 category. And
Exactly.
7 category. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so they categorize it a little more.
Yeah, and in my first match, I was having some things with just the start. The official asked me heads or tails,
Heads or tails?
and I don't know what she was saying. So I don't know. Like I know how the toss works, but I don't know. I was so surprised what was happening. So he said heads. It was tails, and then I was like, okay, what's next? Like I don't want to. I just don't want to serve. Is that? And so it's
Hey,
like,
as long as I'm not serving, I'm good.
and I was like, my opponent is probably thinking that I can't play tennis, don't know what to do, but I beat him 6-3, 6-3. So that was really funny. And then there was also a lot of wind. He served his first serve out. The ball was dropping back literally between my legs. And I was saying, sorry, we need to replay the point. But then he asked for the official, and I was like, this is so professional. We don't do that in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
It's just we play a let.
Yeah, and then go about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does depend who you play. Some people will have no problem, like, yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
And then some people will call the official, and it depends.
Oh, but it's also good. It's sometimes it's more professional how the tournaments work here.
Yeah.
And also my last tournament, I served 2 times on the right side, and then it was, okay, guys, you need to start, and I was like, what? I need to serve.
They do that. They
rush it. They want to get through their schedule.
They keep their time on the warm up pretty strict. So if you've been out there warming up for 5 minutes on the dot, they're like, change.
And I think umpires here as well, they're roaming ones. They're also helping the tournament director get the structure done, get the timing done. So they're looking at courts and trying to clear the courts. I mean, that's their thing, as well. So it makes it professional, but it also makes it.
But do you think it's good that it's like that's working like that with?
I think it is.
I do.
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah, because what it does, it gets the tournament, because you do have some kids. It's mainly to sort of, I guess you have referees to stop the cheating line. I don't know what it's like in Europe, and it's just to stop the people over warming up or doing a bit too much. Or there's the parameters, there's the line. That's how long you warm up for. That's it.
Yeah.
They add structure. I think they add a bit more structure.
I think that's missing in the Netherlands, and that's probably the reason why people are not doing the off-court warm-up.
Yeah.
Because you can just warm up for 10, 15 minutes. I want to organize a tennis world tournament at my club, and we had our schedule was like, it's going to be tricky. And then you see some players playing for 15 minutes during the warm-up.
Yeah.
And that's not working.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's a big difference.
And what is the difference in between Australia and America then for you guys?
I wouldn't say much. I would say America and Australia are very similar. I remember running a few tournaments in Florida, and we had to have a ratio of 1 referee per 50 players.
Really?
That was kind of like a USTA type of rule. This is like 15 years ago, so forgive me if it's changed now.
Keep going. I'm just going to close that door.
Yeah, but it was about the same thing, very professional. You had a referee looking after one bank and then the other bank, and same thing. Warm up was they did the coin toss, heads or tails, who wants to serve, blah blah blah. So I would say it's very similar. I would say that at the recreation level, tennis in America is very structured and very fun. Like they are so serious about it. Their leagues, and they've got their own rating system. I don't know if you remember. Do you know about their rating system? Their USTA.
USTA.
No.
Yeah, like 3.0, 3.5 combo leagues. They have all these different levels and numbers. Hard to explain right now, but it's really good.
I will say this.
It works.
I think America have the best culture when it comes to tennis as an adult.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen it done any better because they have their structures and they've got so much pride. Americans, what they're really great at, they've got so much pride in where they're from. You look at like a high school student or a college student, they bleed their colors of
Texas, Florida, whatever it is.
And then after college, they need somewhere to put that energy and that support and that loyalty.
Yeah.
So they look for what they enjoy, and in the case of tennis players, they look for their local club and they create a league, and they're in a league with 3 or 4 of their best mates, and they go to coaching sessions with their team. They don't just go coach by themselves. They're like, oh no, my team, we've got a coaching session with Sal next week. And look, we struggled on the return, so we're all going to work on returns next week.
Yeah.
And they celebrate afterwards as a team. They have functions as a team. They do Christmas parties. They do recreational tennis as adults better than any other country
especially in the adult range.
Way better than Australia.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think what we do, Rel, I think we create multiple opportunities for juniors. Because again, in America, they have it's the high school and college system. Whereas in Australia, we don't really have that. So if you want to play tennis competitively, you need to do it outside of school. So we create multiple opportunities for people to compete as kids. But then once we get to adults, we kind of fade out a little.
And I think that's something I also see in the Netherlands, and I'm trying to build now with Tennis the World, is building that community for adult people who are, let's say, thinking back about a Wimbledon final. You're not playing for that Wimbledon final, but you feel like you are kind of
means a
professional.
lot.
It means a lot for you.
Yeah.
You're just a dedicated amateur player. And Yiti, she got UTR 3, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think she can easily play up to 4, 5 maybe.
Yeah.
But in the structure here, she don't want to play that tournament because she knows she will play against the UTR 8.
Yeah.
Maybe first round 7. Yeah.
It's tough.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's fun, but I also see that there's in the draw, there's UTR 11.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I want to play against you, but I will not beat you.
Yeah.
And so that structure in the Netherlands is, I think, really good for Australia as well. I think I saw some tournaments here being A grade, B grade, C grade and stuff. That's something like that, probably.
Yeah. And that's great too. Like Albury, the town you visited with the grass courts, all the tournaments that they always have an open division and there's a UTR sort of cutoff. Yeah. And then after that, you have your A grade, B grade, C grade. Yeah. They're great for the recreational players.
I agree.
But I think if we talk about tennis as a whole, I think that you want people playing it year round. You don't want them just playing the tournament. So again, going back to America, when they create these leagues where you're playing weekly, you're training together as a team maybe 2 or 3 times a week, it keeps the momentum of tennis being the forefront of the fun, the enjoyment, and the competition. Yep. And I think we could really take a leaf out of America's book in how they do it.
And it's great they do these like sectionals. So if you win your area, you win your draw, you go to state. And you make a trip out of it. And it's super fun. You go on a road trip and do the state trip together. And you win that, you go to nationals. And that's a huge deal over there. Man. It's massive. And they do it in such cool ways. So if they have a combo league, if you want to play combo 8 and you're a 3.5 and I'm a 4.5, we can play together because our score together is 8. We can play against a 3 and a 5 or whatever. They do it so well. But I think it's history.
Could you play against a 4 and a 4?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, because 4 plus 4 is
7 and a 1?
Yes.
Cool. Just checking.
They don't have UTR 1 though. Yeah, sorry.
Guys, we're going to have to take a quick break to go to our sponsor. But when we come back, I just want to touch point on the culture of tennis in the coaching realm and get your vibe on sort of what the coaching culture is like over in the Netherlands compared to here. And then a couple of changes that we might all make to tennis to make the sport better. And a nice little way to round things out with Hugo Straver.
Dit is dan een mooi moment om het te hebben over het progressieprogramma. Dus kijk zeker mee op de video. Het progressieprogramma is er voor de fanatieke speler en de coaches van de fanatieke spelers. Wij hebben een programma gemaakt waarin je kan werken aan je spel waar en wanneer je wil. Ik ben er namelijk van overtuigd dat je bij een tennisleraar heel veel zal leren, maar zeker als speler die echt meer uit je spel wil halen, heb je meer tijd nodig dan 1 uur in de week. En ben je nou een tennisleraar en wil je anderen helpen, dan is het belangrijk dat je in dat 1 uurtje het maximale eruit gaat halen. En daar zorgt het programma voor. We organiseren ook events. We zorgen ook met het trainingsprogramma dat je PO-punten kan behalen. Nou, wil je dus meer weten? Ga dan naar de link in de show notes. Nu door naar de aflevering.
And we're back with Hugo from Tennis the World. Hugo, we just had a quick chat in the break. It was very rude. I kind of just jumped straight into it. You got any questions for us, man? Or hit us. What do we got?
What is your story? Because I know.
All right,
Start us off, Nelson.
I'll go first. I'll run it through really quickly. started playing tennis as a kid. I was 6. Pat Rafter was my hero. And I was a pretty successful junior. Had great success up until about 15, 16. Tried to play the circuit and traveled over to America and South America. Played the tour for a little bit and quickly realized that I wasn't cut out for this professional world. So I had no education. I dropped out of high school. So what was I good at? Good at tennis coaching, good at talking to people. So I made it a career. And then eventually, after spending years traveling around the world coaching, I decided to come back to my home country and hometown and start a business called Get Set Tennis. And that's when Rez sort of came across. You were sort of similar story growing up?
Yeah, very similar story. I started playing when I was 11 or 12 years old, seriously. Fell in love. And same thing, overlapped professional when I went professional to coaching. I had to coach to save money to go play and found that coaching was fun, playing was not. So I was the opposite. I just kind of wanted to coach some more. And I did the same thing. Overseas, international experience was my thing. And I met you in America. We're Aussies. And we met in America. We met in Texas. And you started Get Set Tennis, and I jumped in on 2017. And it's been a roller coaster ever since.
And you started it in 2 years?
So I started Get Set Tennis in 2015.
Yeah.
And then the following year, I recruited Rez to come on and just help out. And then another 6 months later, he bought into the business, and now we're split ownership of the company, which is fun. And over the last 8 years, almost 9 now, we've been really focused on creating a different coaching company. We've been lucky enough. We've seen so many different coaching companies around the world. So we take the good out of what we see, and we try and steer clear from the toxic nature of the ones we've seen too. And our biggest goal was just to create a fun, welcoming community that everyone can be a part of. Our biggest goal was not to create the next world number one. If that's your goal, great, we can help you along the way. But whatever your tennis journey is, I always say this: if you want to be the best tennis player in your family, or if you want to be, just better than your dad,
or your partner,
we want to support that. So if we're keeping you in the game and loving the game, then that's what we do. And then we dove pretty hard on the social media side of things, and just started to build a nice little community.
And the social media part, why? Because they're like, let's say, tennis academy. You've got or tennis in the Netherlands they call it a tennis school.
Yeah, that's more appropriate to us, I think.
Okay,
I would say.
But your social media game is also big. Like, what's the reason? Is it just because you guys really like it and it's fun, or?
I think it's two-part. It actually started because I'm lazy. So I'll tell you what.
But it's a lot of work.
No, I know, right?
Originally, no.
Originally. Okay. So the first year we were operating, we had no social media. And when it would rain, I would have to text all my clients and say, tennis is off, cancelled, we're not playing today. One day it rained and I had to text like 40 people. And I'm like, I can't be bothered. So what I did was I turned my phone around, I hit record, it was raining in the back, and I said, "G'day guys, Nelson from Get Set Tennis. As you can see, it's raining behind me. Sadly, no tennis today. Stay safe, make yourself a cup of tea and a biscuit, and we'll see you next week." And I posted it. And the video got a bit of views. And the next time it rained, I made it a bit more fun. I made a joke in there. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. And from there, we started getting more traction, and we realized that if people want to check in on what we're doing, we can
use that
inform them there.
Yeah.
But it was the entertainment value is what we enjoyed. So we started making little skit videos and jokes and expectation versus reality. And then over the years, we just love doing it so much. So that's part of the reason. And also now we're really working hard to try and make a difference in the tennis media game, because I'll put it to you frankly, there's a lot of old commentators, there's a lot of people who've been doing tennis for a long time doing the same thing, and I think it's getting boring. And I think if players like Nick Kyrgios can come in and bring new fans into the sport as a player, why can't we come in as tennis coaches and personalities and bring new fans in from a different perspective? So that's why we work so hard on our social media.
Yeah, it started, and when I came on board, we both found out we have a massive love of skit shows because Australia has a few skit shows and movies. Yeah. Our first big role was the Shawshank Redemption video.
Oh, great video.
That was a great video.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
So that's us, man.
and we just kind of have fun with it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's hilarious because I told some friends that I was gonna visit you guys, and sometimes it was like just I pronounce your names, and I was like, I'm not sure, and then I showed a video. Oh no, shit! And I was like, it's so funny, and I think it's bigger than or bigger than the sport, or just bigger than just coaching. It's so far, and it's crazy how viral some videos go. But then that's what you want. That you're probably reaching a lot of other people than not only tennis players, but also maybe the parents or friends of players, or just random people who are like. And
that's why we always say, like, our slogan is more than tennis, and we want to make this more than tennis for everybody. So diving back into the world of culture really quickly. We are coaches, first and foremost. Really quickly, what do you notice in difference between coaches or coaching culture in Netherlands compared to Australia?
I would have liked to speak with more coaches. Like it's quite difficult during our trip to really like have. This is like a conversation. I had a podcast episode with one other strength and conditioning coach, and I did 4 with other coaches on the court. And what is different in their approach of coaching, or how do you mean the question?
So, okay, I'll give you an example of what I believe, and Rez, you jump in, what tennis coach culture is like here. So I think in Australia, you have 2 styles of coaches.
Yep. I think I maybe know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
What I listened to one when I drove up here, so maybe. But one thing you said, and I really like this, is it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. We did talk about that.
That resonated with me with the coaches I see in the Netherlands as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So I find that those my way or the highway. Look, if you're coming to me for advice, this is how I coach. You're going to be the best tennis player possible, and you won't put a foot out of line. And very serious, very. Yes, it's professional. It gets results if for particular people. And I think there's a lot of those. A lot of people who want to be that style of coach. Yeah. And then on the other side, you have we'll call them the recreational coaches, the guys that do it for
the people,
fun,
the humans.
And we want to make sure we're in that realm.
Okay. Yeah.
You can take parts from both and have a very successful coaching career, but I think that unfortunately, if you walk into a tennis academy here in Australia, you'll figure out pretty quickly which one is which.
And I'll tell you why we think like that is because, out of the, say, 500 or 1,000 kids who you're teaching, 99.99% are not going to go professional.
And don't want to.
Or even like if some of them do, it's not possible. So you try really hard to give them their dream, be the best in their family, take care of the dad, in terms of on the tennis court, of course. But we look after the 99.99%. That's what we think is more important.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you said it's pretty similar in the Netherlands, like a lot of my way, highway kind of strict coaching.
So the program of Tennis World is called the Progression Program, and the goal is that coaches learn other approaches to teach kids or adults to improve their game. But as a entrepreneur, my sales approach is really trying to help them and having a discussion like, do you experience that you have you're doing the same thing week in, week out? And some coaches are saying, and I want to learn other stuff. Like I myself, I want to learn. Yeah. So they've got that student mindset. And they sign up. I'm of course happy with that, but that's the good coach in my opinion, because the coach wants to learn. And there are also other coaches, and it's fine. But I think that's the coach of how do you say it? It's
your preferred coaching style?
My way or the highway.
Yeah. But it's like, oh no, I'm fine. I don't need anything else. And it's not that I'm like but you need to sign up for my program. But it's more like be more open to other things. And some of them, they are only like within their own school.
Yeah.
Can be good, but I think it's good to learn from a lot of other people as well.
Other coaches and other things.
Yeah.
Well, there's that expression too, like as soon as you stop learning, you stop growing. So if you're not open to any sort of outside information, or if you're the type of person who thinks that they can't improve, like let's be real, we can all improve in every area of our life. We're talking about tennis right now. But if you're stubborn in the fact that, you know, I've got all the answers already, you stop growing.
And it's also in the position of a coach is you learn or you teach others.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to teach others if you're not teachable.
Agreed.
That's right. 100%.
He always says to kids, he's like, be coachable. Always want to be coachable. That's one of the big things.
And the thing is, like, I'm not setting them up just to be great tennis players and listen to me as a tennis coach. Listen to others too. Be open-minded and listen to each other. And you can learn from so many different sources. Like some of the games we come up. Don't we have like a couple girls at Kayleen who they do a couple coaching programs. They write a mock coaching program for us as a bit of a fun joke. And these girls are recreational players. And they're in your class or in Buster's class, and they write these beautiful programs, and we use them. They're fantastic little fun games.
10-year-old girls, like they come up with the weird and wonderful games, and we look at it, we're like, okay, we can make this work.
This can work.
And some of the best things. So it's great.
So there are some schools that are doing a great job by having maybe the same approach as you guys are having, and then there are some great talented players, and they have a collaboration with another high performance school or academy, and they are happy to send them to that academy. And you've also got some other schools, and they just want to keep their customers, which
of course
it's difficult because it's business, but and just sharing information. What I told in the break, I'm not in that field anymore,
deep enough to be totally.
But you see the differences, and I hope Tennis Rules is helping in that way to make it easy for maybe the shy coaches or the beginner coaches to learn a lot through our program. But it's still there. We try to make it to start an interaction, and I think people need to just share more. Like
I agree.
And that's what social media is for. I think that's what we believe the social media platform is for. To share it.
Is it so sometimes there's 1 out of 10 reels you share. Sometimes there's an instructional video, right? Sometimes. And I'm the opposite. Almost every time it's like serious stuff I do. But in the beginning I was not sure if I should do that because I was like, people will probably think something about me. But do you sometimes struggle with that part as well, like explaining how to serve and stuff like?
Look, I've never been shy to share any secrets that we have, because at the end of the day, like all the information is out there, and and I'm a true believer in that. Just because you have the information, first of all, if you have the information that I've given you, it doesn't mean that you're going to be any threat to my business or company or coaching. It also doesn't mean that you can do it better than me. You know, if I give you a car, and I have a car, you know, just because we all have the same car doesn't mean that we're going to be the same drivers. You're probably going to drive the car different to me. You're going to drive the car different to me. So just because you have the same knowledge, it doesn't mean that you can use it the same way that I will. So I've got no question, because we're authentic. We know who we are. So if someone tried to start copying what we were doing, I would not be worried, because I'm like, you're not us. And I'm not worried about that, because we worry about us. And that
it's flattery.
It's great.
It's flattery. And I think we've done some coaching videos in the past, and we enjoy them. We enjoy giving some instruction, but we also follow some great guys like Patrick Mertiglia. Obviously, a guy named Joel Myers. These are all wonderful. Like you said, it's all out there. Anything you particularly want with the technique, it's all out there.
It's all there.
But we feel like we being genuine to ourselves, we want to have a bit more fun.
Yeah.
We want to goof it around a little bit.
And this is a question Yeti came up with. And I struggled with this as well when I started coaching, is when you're the funny coach, but you've got a group of kids in front of you, I was struggling with the first lesson being that funny coach who was too relaxed, and then the rest of the season being that trying to be the policeman.
Yeah.
And so she was like, but how are those guys are doing it? Because they are so fun on social media. How are the guys on court? And how do they do that with the kids? Are they listening to them?
May I take the reins on this one?
Please.
So I've actually studied this in my own way, just my own little social experiments. And I've gone in goofy for a season or for a start. And then, like you said, you lose control. They go a little crazy and they feel like they can get away with murder. But I went the other way. I went drill sergeant, like serious. Okay, guys, this is the rules. This is how we start. We're going to have fun, but you got to follow the rules and be safe. And start with the serious and then gradually open up and make it fun. I found that way was better for me. So I find it funny that we do all these videos. People don't realize we actually do coach, which is kind of funny because we do spend a lot of time on the court. We that's our serious job out there.
Yeah.
And we kind of have fun with the social media. So that's the way I do it.
Yeah, I would say it's a balancing act, and every group is different. It's so hard. I would say I'm still more on the fun side.
Yeah.
But and even when I'm giving instruction as a coach, I'm doing it in a fun way. But the second I need to be a bit more stern, I'll actually lower everything. I'll lower my voice. I'll be more calm, and people know instantly, like, oh, his demeanor changed. He's serious. But then immediately I'll go back up there, and I'm like, we're okay. We had a moment.
Yeah.
Let's move on. So it happens. It happens.
Oh, that's good.
You had a question for us about energy management?
Yeah. Energy as a coach is like, by the way, is this the same here? In the Netherlands, a lot of coaches coach from like 4 p.m. till 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Not quite. We're a little different here. We do a lot in the early mornings.
Okay.
Like sort of like 6:30 through to about 9:30. And then we usually start back up about 2:30, and then we go through till about 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still, the time.
Weird times. Very weird times.
The times for a coach is always different than the
normal jobs.
Yeah, normal jobs, and your family. How?
You got this, Hugo. You got this, Hugo.
Okay, so when I was coaching 20 hours a week.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're like, oh, then you can make a lot of content. I was making a lot of content, but I was also struggling with my energy sometimes, going home because I coach till 10 p.m. Next morning you go on court again, and you're just it's physical too out there. I think a lot of coaches are like, those guys are bringing all the energy on social media. They're doing their podcast. We will play a set now and stuff, And how are you guys managing your energy then?
It's a good question. I'll run through mine real quick. I think we've learnt over the years, because there was definitely early years when we were younger, you could kind of do 40, 50 hours a week and live off coffee and beers and no sleep, and it's fine. But then once we get older, we realize we can't do that anymore. I think what we do is we need to be really, really particular in our schedules. So we plan everything to the T. So when we make our content, like we book a day of the week where we have maybe 4 hours in the middle of the day, and we were just like, we're shooting content, and that 4 hours, we need to get a week's worth of content. And on that day, we're quite fresh because we only do it once a week. We enjoy that. It's like a nice little, so we're upbeat. So that's what you see on the social media side of things. The hard part is keeping that energy through the coaching sessions. And I definitely have dips, and I get angry at myself when I have dips, and I'll admit it. I'm like, man, I'm just flat today. Rez, I know you said the same thing. I think for us, it's easy to turn it back around and keep energy, because for us, we're not just working for a company. Like this is our face. This is our brand. So if we're not upbeat, it has a negative impact on our baby. You know what I mean? So we put more energy into our coaching than I think 90% of coaches out there. And it doesn't matter if we have a beginner red baller or a high performance player. We tell ourselves we're putting as much energy as possible, because the other thing you got to think of is they're spending their money. They've worked hard, and they've chosen to spend their income, their little income that they have after their job, on us. And if we're not giving them
It's
everything,
a privilege. It's a privilege.
it is a privilege. And if we're not giving them everything, we're doing a disservice to them. And that just doesn't sit right with me. So you find another level to go to.
I also find, like, just quickly, I was going to put this out there. Energy is a two-way street for me.
Great.
So before I go out on court, I always find myself, I'm a little tired today. I'm a little flat, and I get out there, and as soon as the kids start saying, hey, Timmy, how are you? And start singing the kids, hey, Coach Rez, and they all give me that little bit of boost of energy. And then just gradually as the time goes on and I'm on the court, I forget to drink, I forget to eat, I forget everything. And then I realize at 8 o'clock at the end of the day, I've had such a high, great to see all these wonderful people. They're almost like my friends in a sense. I have so much fun with them. Then I go home, eat, and I fall asleep on the couch. I crash. I crash hard. So the people give me energy. I really enjoy that.
And that's the other hard part. Like you mentioned, you put so much energy into what you do here. And then when you go home, unfortunately, and I've definitely sacrificed this a lot. Like my family gets me when my tank is almost empty.
Yeah, but that's sacrificing.
That's hard, isn't it?
But it's maybe part of the job.
It is, but you can't do it forever. It's like for instance, recently I've now taken a full day off work. Like I used to never take. We don't work on Sundays. We used to work Monday through Saturday. I don't work on Fridays anymore. I have a family day, so I don't have to do anything. And that's changed my dynamic at home because I can just put all my fresh energy
and on court
into my family. Yeah, and it has changed on court too. So little tricks like that. But yeah. Guys, we're going to start to wrap things up. We've had a great chat here. Really quickly, Hugo, you're obviously, you love tennis. You can tell by the way you speak about it. You're passionate. What do you think tennis needs in the world moving forward to be in a really healthy place? Do we need better educated coaches? Do we need more opportunities for players? Do we need more access for people with not much money? Because tennis is a bit of a privileged sport. What do you think tennis needs to be in a better place?
I think it starts with the coaches.
Agreed.
I think everywhere I go here in Australia starts with the coach. I just go to the tennis court and I see a coach and I speak with him or her. And then I think if the coaches are good and making the players enjoy the game by making them better or just having fun, it starts there. But also that the coaches or something else just connects those players and coaches with each other and organizing stuff. Just so like every week having a tennis lesson, 1 hour, can be fun for a lot of people, but maybe that example of in America, how you can just do a lot of stuff when you're an adult player and go to states and nationals and stuff. Like also just living in, let's say in Amsterdam. No, maybe it's the problem is not in the cities. I think just the problem is more outside of the cities.
It's a different vibe. It's a different vibe.
That there's more stuff going on.
Yeah.
I think tennis needs that. My club where I always played is closed since this year.
Really?
So that's sad.
Really?
So you need, I don't know what the answer must be, but I think it starts with the coach.
I think so too.
And just an organization or that the coach can organize more, but with that topic we just spoke about, it's time for the coach. So sorry, bad answer.
No, I think that's a great answer. And to summarize it, I also think that if a coach does a great job, it filters down to everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that community then builds back up and helps the coach. And once you create a village of people who've got the same like-minded positivity, I think that's how you win. And you do that in more places, and tennis is in a great spot.
I help one player in the Netherlands. She started tennis 3 years ago. She really liked the game, also because of the coach back home. And now she's a volunteer of the club, and she organizes stuff for the kids there.
Yeah.
Like that's how it should be.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just going to give one word. World Tennis Coaches Conference.
One word?
One big trip. That's not one phrase. Sorry.
How's your English? His English is better than you.
He is. He's much cleaner. I would love to go to one location, meet a bunch of coaches from different countries, and just have a great week.
Let's organize it. We've got three right here.
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it in Amsterdam.
Oh, yes.
Good.
2025 Amsterdam World Coaches Conference.
That's going to be a very...
Tennis the world. Get set.
Yeah, tennis the world. Times.
Get set. Tennis the world.
We got it figured out, guys.
All right, let's do it.
Hugo, thanks so much for your time today, mate. We're going to jump out on court and film a bit of content now too, so I'm very excited. buddy, real quickly, just tell people how they can reach you. Is it Instagram? YouTube? What's the best way to reach you?
Best way is probably the YouTube channel, because there you guys will be seen as well with what we do on court. And the other thing is Instagram. Yeah.
Love it.
Tennis the World. That's
Tennis the World. Make sure you reach out. Hugo, again, thank you so much for your time. Rez, thanks for, I guess.
Hanging out.
Hanging out.
Annoying you.
Guys, if you got any value today, please like, click, share, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. And until next time, this is Nelson, Hugo, and Rez from the Tennis Culture Podcast signing out.
out.
There we go. That's good. There's that language barrier.
Yeah, yeah.